Hi, I'm Stef and I'm from Peru. Oh my god, her English is very pretty. Where did you learn the English? Nowhere special. I just went to school. That's it. Yes, I know you went to the school, obviously. But which school? Which institute did you study the English? Because you know I need to get a job. And to get a job, I need to speak the English very well. No, I didn't go to an institute to learn English. I just went to regular school, you know? Elementary school, high school. That's where I went. That's where I learned English. Oh, for this reason you speak the English like a gringo. Yeah, I guess. But why do you think that someone like me wouldn't be able to sound like a native when I speak English? Oh, it's because you look so Latina, with the brown skin and the dark hair, and you look so, like a Mexican, and I don't expect you to sound like a gringo. Whoa, that was so wrong on so many levels. So you're basically saying that just because of my skin color and my hair color, just because of my overall look, you would naturally assume that I just don't know how to speak English and you would expect me to speak really broken English. That's what you're saying, right? And the question that some of you have been dying to have answered is finally here. Here's a video on why I speak English so well. So for those of you that have been following me on this channel from the very beginning, or you got to the party late, but you started watching my videos from the very beginning, you know what? I love you. You my homie, okay? Because you know why I speak English so well. But for those of you that got here late, you saw a video of mine and thought, wow, this girl, she sounds so good when she speaks English. How did she do it? And you then go on to type, why do you speak English so well in the comments? And then I go and read your comment. And then I go, oh my God, again. Every single week, I get a comment on why I speak English so well. Not gonna lie to you. If I really wanted to take the time to do some extra editing on this video, I would go ahead and pop in like all the comments that I've gotten from people asking me why I speak English so well. But I'm too lazy to do that, okay? So you gotta trust me on this, okay? So, in the beginning when I got these comments, I will be honest with you, I got so annoyed and pissed off. Because just to me, it was like, do people not know people immigrate? It's 2017. People have been immigrating for like hundreds of years, like forcefully or voluntarily. So of course there are going to be people that look like they're from a certain part of the world, yet they probably don't speak the language from that part of the world, and they have adopted the language in the place where they were born or raised or whatever. And so that is the language that they speak, and they naturally sound like a native speaker because that's where they live, right? So it really did get on my nerves that people judged me based on how I looked and thought, how does this brown girl speak English like a native speaker? Where does she, how does she do that? I'm just trying to be honest with you, trying to keep it real, trying to be super authentic, 2017, authenticity all the way, okay? And this is part of the attitude that comes out with, that part of me when I get heated. And I'm like, oh no, you didn't! Okay, hopefully you're finding this entertaining, but this is how I am, okay, with my best friends. So, you my best friend if you're watching this. Anyway, so it really did get on my nerves, just because I was like, what's going on here? Like, why do people judge others in this way? And why do they make these assumptions that a brown person can't sound this way, or that a person that looks a certain way can't sound this way, or whatever? But I mean, I get it, because we all are trained in a way to judge others based on appearances, and we're naturally programmed that way for survival instincts. Like, we naturally have part of our brain that's automatically like trying to detect danger or certain things. So, we try to like detect certain things, and yeah, society or families program us to judge others. And so of course people can have this idea that, oh, you look at someone and you already assume that they, speak a certain way or speak a certain language or do this or that. And I've been guilty of that myself. I'm not trying to say that I haven't, because I've done that for sure. And I want to give you an example of that is that when I moved to Belgium in 2015, well, at the end of 2014, but, I had been used to seeing like white people, speaking English, speaking French, German, what other languages? I don't know. But just like the ones that you typically like imagine white people speaking, right? in different parts of the world. But when I went to Belgium and I was, living with the Flemish-speaking family, it was the first time I was exposed to that language. So for me, it was kind of like surreal hearing people speak this language that I had never had contact with. And I was like, my brain, I was trying to like really understand, like, what are these people speaking? It's just so weird. I've never heard this, like, how is it possible? I don't know. So, that was me being a little bit narrow-minded as well. But living there and seeing people of different ethnicities speaking all of these different languages. Like, you have, black people. I remember once I went on a Tinder date. That's a story for another day. I went on a Tinder date with an African-American guy who was a basketball player. And when he was in Belgium, he, saw French-speaking black people there. And they could barely speak English to him. And he was just like, it's so surreal. Like, it's just so weird seeing black people speak French, And it's what happens when you haven't had the chance to travel around the world or to, like, expand your horizons a bit. Regardless, like, you don't necessarily have to travel. But if you live in a place, and I know this is especially for, like, maybe Latin Americans, because I get this comment a lot from Latinos, it seems. They ask me why I speak so well. And in Latin America, we're predominantly Latino, like, we come in all shades, colors, sizes, whatever. But we primarily only speak Spanish in Latin America. We're incorporating more and more English because of business, but that's really it. We don't really have that much diversity. And, like, on this part of the world in general, from north to south, we only speak, like, predominantly one language. In Canada, you have English and some French. In the U.S., just really English. Of course, you have all of these other languages that are growing and developing, but that's the language, right? What everyone tries to enforce in the U.S. Speak American, right? Whatever that is. And then you have, from Mexico down south, Spanish, really. That's it. Some French here and there. Portuguese, Brazilian, so in Brazil. So, yeah. So because we only really are exposed to this one language, we automatically become surprised, I guess, when we see a Latino speaking a totally different language and actually sounding really good in it. But I know if you're Latino, everybody should probably, but Latinos especially, you have some family members, more than likely, that have immigrated to a different part of the world, and it looks like I have armpit hair now. It's so distracting. Okay, but they've moved to a different part of the world, and they haven't been in touch with your native country in so long. Maybe their parents didn't teach them the native, language from your country. So now your cousins or other family members or whatever, they look physically, like they're from your part of the world, but they don't really have very many cultural ties. They don't speak the mother tongue. They're basically more identified with wherever they live at this moment. And that's true, okay, for a lot of us. And that's what happens. Like, I am one of 8 cousins, I think, in the U.S., I was raised in the U.S. I have 7 other cousins, I believe. Yeah, 7, 8 other cousins. I don't know, whatever. So out of all of them, I'm the only one that speaks Spanish fluently. The only one. And that's for many reasons. In my family, one of my brothers has a learning disorder. So we were recommended to only really speak English to him because that's what he's learned, at school, to make it easier on him, whatever. With one of my cousins as well, her family, she also is autistic and stuff, and I suppose that's why they chose to really speak English only in the house as well, to make it easier for learning situations or whatever. All the other ones, I don't know. Anyway, they all more or less understand Spanish, but they don't really speak it. I'm the only one, and I got lucky because I forgot to speak Spanish. For many years growing up, I spoke to my parents in English because that is what I learned at school, okay? When I left Peru at 4 years old to go to the U.S., to go to North Carolina, Charlotte, North Carolina, for those of you that are nosy and all of my business, okay? I'm telling you now. So when I went there, I took 6 months of ESL, bam, normal classes after that, learned English all the way. So that was my world, and I just spoke to my parents in English. They understood me, but they always spoke to me in Spanish, and I always understood them. But I always responded in English. So I lived my life this way up until I was about 13, and back then in Charlotte, there wasn't a heavy Latino population. So I didn't really have other Spanish speaking people to really talk to, except maybe my babysitter or something, but that was it. And when I was 13, that was a really rough period in my life. I'll get into that story one day. But it was around the time my parents got separated and they divorced, and my dad wasn't stepping up, wasn't helping out financially. I stepped up at that age, and I got a job working for my aunt, who just opened a CD store in the city. And her CD store was a Spanish music CD store, and that is where I had to really begin practicing Spanish in order to interact with the customers and help them. So I began relearning Spanish there. I started speaking Spanglish. That got me through high school with my friends, which then I moved to a high school. There was lots of Latinos, and I started speaking Spanish more, or Spanglish more. So I could actually use the language, because before that, all of my friends were black and white. That was it. Maybe like an Asian or two. That was really it. And if there were like Latinos, they only spoke English, really. So I wasn't exposed to that, and it happens, you don't really sometimes see the need to practice the mother tongue of your family. It's up to your family to reinforce that at home. That's a responsibility they have to choose to take on if they want that. They want to like keep cultural ties. So anyway, back to the story. When I came to Peru, I had to learn how to speak Spanish properly, because I couldn't rely on Spanglish anymore, because back in the US, when you can't remember how to say one word in one language, you say it in the other language, and you keep the conversation flowing. But here, I couldn't do that. I couldn't give them words in English, because then they wouldn't understand me at all. So I had to learn how to really train my brain to always speak in Spanish. And because I was raised in a city where there was a heavy Mexican population, a heavy Central American population, I wasn't really around too many South Americans where I lived, in the part of the city where I lived. So my accent in Spanish sounds a bit Mexican. And that's cool, because I love Mexicans. Hey, thumbs up if you're Mexican, if you got Mexican friends, family. I love everyone. Okay, I don't discriminate. And so what happened? So I do sound a bit Mexican, even though I speak Spanish much better now. I do sound a bit Mexicanish, I suppose, but I don't care. Whatever. I speak 2 languages. What do you speak? And plus I speak a little bit of other stuff. So basically that's it. That's how I learned English. I went to school. Now, for those of you that ask me all the time, like, where I learned English, what do I recommend, and all of these other things about learning English, okay? Listen, I am really proud of you for reaching out to me and trying to learn how I learned English so well. Because that says a lot about you, that you're committed to really mastering this language, and especially in a culture where our culture is like primarily like, Spanish only. And I think it's a bit close-minded in a way. But, kudos to you for really trying to do everything that's possible to improve your mastery of this language for your own benefit. That's great. But what I would really recommend for you to do, if you really want to learn English, because there's a lot of you that follow me. Apparently I have a really a fast growing population of followers that are primarily Spanish speaking, and they follow my channel to practice learning the language. So you did right by following me, because most of the time I speak properly, okay? Other times I sound ghetto. But what I recommend to you if you want to learn English is, this is what I apply to every time I want to learn a new language, because I speak a few other languages as well. I'm getting rusty, but I still speak them. And so anytime you want to learn a new language, I recommend that you go to classes in an institute or get a private teacher to teach you at home, that you do a lot of homework, and don't wait until the last minute. Really process it, really practice it over and over again. Use useful apps and websites apps to learn the language, and also websites where you can interact with people to do a language exchange. I had a couple of websites years ago, I can't remember them now, but it was websites for the purpose of exchanging the language with a native speaker in that language that you're trying to learn, and vice versa. So you help each other out to practice. And then watch videos, watch YouTube channels or movies or TV series in the language that you're trying to learn with the subtitles in the language that you're trying to learn. Do not use subtitles or dub in your language, okay? You're doing yourself a disservice. And I'm telling you this because I also taught English. So not only am I a person who loves learning languages, because I think it's an incredible way to really, truly learn about new cultures and really experience them on a deep level, but also because I was also a teacher. So yeah, I love learning languages. I'm a teacher. This is why I'm telling you what works and what has worked for me. Also, when you learn a language, stop translating everything. Jesus, like, I swear, it gets annoying when I see people, they'll have like the word eraser, and then they'll put the translation, borrador or whatever. No, just draw a picture of an eraser. Boom. Associate the picture with the word, always in the language that you're trying to learn. Don't translate, because if you translate, you're going to screw yourself over. I'm telling you, because then your mind is going to function a lot more slowly, because you're training your brain to always think first in your language, translate it, and then translate it to the other language and then think in that language. And you're going through this much longer process, whereas if you just learn it in that language and you just see it as that language, you don't try to mix it up with your own language, then it's, it goes a lot smoother or more smoothly. So definitely, don't translate. When you learn new vocabulary or things, really just try to draw pictures or use other words in the language that you're learning to describe or give a definition to this new word. Do very, very little translating, okay? Only if it's absolutely necessary. Otherwise, you're hurting yourself if you do that. Bad habits. And then it's going to be really hard to break later on. So, also, when you're watching videos, series, films, whatever, music videos, or soap operas, when you're watching these things, I really recommend that you practice your pronunciation or enunciation. I remember when I was learning Brazilian Portuguese years ago, and I was watching my telenovelas, my soap operas, there was with Brazilians. Oh, did you see my pajama pants? Okay, I'm trying to look appropriate from here up. From here down, I'm comfortable as hell, okay? Whatever. So, when I was learning Brazilian Portuguese, I remember, I would watch my novelas, and then there would be, these parts where they would speak so fast, and they have, this G and chi sound. If you're Brazilian, thumbs up this video. I love Brazilian Portuguese. And, they have such good music too. I need to go there one day. Okay, so what was I saying? So I remember I was watching this one scene. This woman was speaking so fast, and she said this thing, and I was like, oh my god, that's so hard to say. And I paused, and I reversed this one line over and over again, and I pronounced it over and over again until I could say it just like her. And she was saying eu quero te pedir uma coisa, right? And I was like, okay, what? How am I gonna say this? Okay, eu quero te pedir uma coisa. Eu quero te pedir uma coisa. And I kept repeating it over and over again. And that was basically her saying, I want to ask you something. And so I was like, okay, I would repeat it over and over again until it could finally flow. Because it was like a tongue twister for me. And that's the thing, is a lot of times when you're learning a new language, your mouth, your face has to get used to making movements that are not familiar for your face. And so you have to retrain, because your muscles have memory. So you have to retrain by practicing over and over again. So even though it's boring and annoying to repeat the same word or the same sentence or whatever over and over again, it's going to really help you if you do that. So you need to do that. Okay? So when you have things that you are having trouble pronouncing or whatever, you're watching, rewind, repeat it over and over again, and really pay attention. Maybe this is not for you. I've said this maybe on this channel or the other channels, I can't remember which one, but I have had issues with perfectionism. I am a type A type of person, high achieving. I like being my absolute best, and I get stressed out sometimes because of this, because I have such high standards for myself. So I'm really intense. Man, I'm really hot now. Okay, so so I would really listen, every time I heard anything and I really wanted to pronounce it really, really correctly. I would listen to it over and over again. And that was what really helped me have really, really good pronunciation. And all the languages that I learn, when I'm learning them, people always compliment me and they tell me how much of a native speaker I sound in all of those languages. when I'm learning them, okay? I don't sound like a native speaker anymore in any of the languages except for Spanish. No, English. That's it. Spanish, I don't know. We already discussed this. So really pay attention when you're listening to music lyrics or these lines that you're trying, or words that you're trying to repeat, and repeat them if you want to have really good pronunciation. If that's not such a big deal for you, you just want to be able to communicate, then go for it, you know. You don't have to like sound exactly like a native, you know, but don't pronounce the word in a way that sounds totally different from what it really is, right? So you're not going to say something like laugh. Laugh is pronounced totally different from how it's spelled. So you're not going to say laugh or something like that. No, like you have to say laugh. Okay. But there are some things like very. You don't have to pronounce it very. You can say Betty or whatever. People will understand, you know, it's not about perfectionism. So it's up to you if how well you want to sound. But yeah, those are my tips for you is, you know, get a teacher or take classes. Do lots of homework. I know a private teacher helped me a lot when I was learning Brazilian Portuguese because my first teacher was garbage and I didn't really learn much from him, and I had to hire a private teacher to come and give me classes and get me up to speed, and that helped so much. After that, I went into the next level, really advanced. So maybe a private teacher. You can hire them online as well. Then do lots of homework, practice a lot, dedicate at least 20 to 30 minutes a day to practicing something related to that language that you're learning at the moment. Listening, watching stuff, you know, videos, movies, music videos, I don't know. Learn the lyrics, practice the pronunciation over and over again, repeat it. Do not translate, write pictures, use words you already know. And this can be a bit of a struggle in the beginning, especially if you're a beginner. But for vocabulary, especially in the beginning, for objects and things like that, you can draw, okay? Stop trying to translate. Because I've taught beginner, and I know it's possible not to have to translate. And I've learned languages myself. And because of this, I always try to draw. And as I go on learning, I started writing out my definitions and words that I've learned and try to do a basic sentence structure. It doesn't have to be perfectly, you know, grammatically correct, but you know, just to give me the idea of like what this means, and then I can always continue to think in that language to create positive habits around language learning. So that's really it. Those are my tips for you guys today. That's the whole mystery, okay? I don't give English classes unless you're gonna pay me a lot of money. I'm not gonna do that. And so, yeah, I like teaching English, but I don't know. Anyway, so that's basically it, okay? Those are my tips for you if you want to learn English. Keep watching videos, keep following YouTubers who have really good pronunciation, but not also, you know, listening to people who speak English properly. Also listen to the different types of accents out there, slang. So as I mentioned, I was raised in Charlotte, North Carolina. It's a southern state. People have a certain way of speaking in the southern states. I don't sound like them. I don't know. I just didn't really, I guess, want to sound like them. I don't know. I love southern accents. I think it sounds sexy sometimes. But yeah, I just don't have that accent. But sometimes when I'm with my friends, that y'all and sugar be coming out, you know, and then I be talking like this, you know, with my homies, my girls. And then when I want to get ghetto and I'm all crazy and stuff, I don't know, just to like, I like to play around with my friends. We just like to exaggerate. So sometimes we'll talk on the phone and be like, oh girl, let me tell you what's going on. Girl, you tell me. Oh, I saw Ricardo cheating on his girlfriend. Girl, you don't even know, you know. And then we'll have talks like this. So that is where that ghetto hood girl comes out sometimes. And then what else? That's basically it, okay? So I hope this helped you if you are trying to learn a foreign language. Keep doing your thing. Keep persevering. It's gonna happen for you. You're gonna learn it. It's possible to sound like a native speaker even though you haven't traveled outside of your country. It is possible because I do know of people who have done this. I know a girl who was Peruvian, never traveled outside of Peru. She sounded like a native British speaker. I will kid you not, she sounded like a native British speaker. And there have been plenty of people that I've heard that sound really good when they speak English, and they've never traveled outside of the country. So it is possible, but you have to be really dedicated, determined, and you have to practice. You have to show up. It's not going to happen for you. It's like going to the gym. You want a nice body? You got to work for it. You want to sound like a native speaker? You got to work for it, okay? And please learn the language, okay? Because it's good for you. to learn more than one language. It really does make such a huge difference. It makes traveling so much easier and much more enjoyable. It definitely helped me when I was traveling in Europe to know Portuguese and French. And, you know, I lived in Belgium, so I learned Flemish. So I know English, Spanish. Those are the ones that I master for the most part. I'm forgetting English sometimes. And then I've been in Peru too long. Okay. And then I know French, Brazilian Portuguese, and Flemish. I can kind of understand a little German because it's kind of similar to Flemish. And I took German classes years ago, so I know. Sometimes, you know, I mix German with Flemish now these days. I don't know why. Don't know why. Anyway, I'm getting sidetracked. So, yeah, if you are from France, if you're from Belgium, if you're from Brazil, thumbs up this video because I love speaking your languages. Well, anywhere else that speaks French and Flemish and what was I saying? The other stuff. Brazilian Portuguese. Well, Brazilian Portuguese is only from Brazil. So anyway, I'm getting distracted. People, what's going on? I can't stop talking. Okay, anyway. So that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching this really long video. I hope that you found it entertaining. If you did, thumbs up the video. Subscribe to my channel to watch more videos like this. I give videos on travel tips around Peru, but this was nothing to do with that. This was to do all with me because I'm the center of attention today, apparently. So, yeah, if you've enjoyed it, leave me a nice comment. Also, I have decided I'm not going to stand for cyberbullying. So if you know, you've been following me on my Facebook page, follow me on my Facebook page. I posted a comment about a troll who left me a really mean comment a few days ago, but I just laughed, and I left him a really smart comment because, I don't know, I was inspired to do so. I normally don't respond. But then I started looking through all my stuff, my notifications, and then going through messages, and then I just saw like old past negative comments. And then I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna like start reporting all these people because they have no right to be on the internet spreading hate in the world. I'm just like reporting them. Hopefully they get their channel shut down or something like that because that's just so wrong. Like, why do you get on the internet to be hateful and mean to people? I just don't understand this. So I decided from now on, if you leave me a nasty comment, I don't care if you disagree with me. You're entitled to your opinion. But if you're being nasty and destructive towards me or other people or whatever, I'm not going to stand for that shit. You going to get reported. That's it. Maybe I'll make a video one day on cyberbullying. But those are my thoughts on that. So anyway, don't leave my pajama pants. Okay, so anyway, guys, thank you so much. Damn ice cream man. Every time I record a video, stupid ice cream man or woman starts coming by and then they blow this stupid horn thing to let everyone know that they're here, and it's so annoying. Why can't they have that nice ice cream music, you know, like in the US where you have the da-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun. I love that music. But no, I hear a beep and it gets on my nerves. It's like, oh, you just ruined my video. That was back in the days when I used to edit and I would have to stop, wait for the ice cream man to leave, and then I could continue recording, and then my video would take a million years longer to record because I had to wait for the person to get out of my damn street. But now I'm just, you know, keeping it real, keeping it hood. I ain't got time for that, you know? Just recording the video straight through. Just, you know, doing the damn thing. That's all I'm saying. Alright, you guys have seen a lot of my personality today. This is the real me. This is how I am. I know, I'm crazy. What can I do? This is how I am. Okay. So, hopefully you had a good laugh out of this. Yeah, I'm super cool, super down to the earth, you know? Just, you know, be me. And that's it. Thanks for watching. Thanks for having some laughs with me. Or laughing at me with my goofiness. It's all good, you know. If I made you have a good day today, had a few laughs, then I did my job today. I did my job. So anyway, guys, I will see you next time. Be sure to subscribe to the channel. Click on the circle that's somewhere here so you can subscribe to my channel. I'm trying to make this channel grow very fast this year. Share it with your friends. Share it with your family, with whoever. Watch all my past videos if you want. Lots of useful stuff there. People tell me all the time they love my videos. It's helped them a lot. Do it. Watch those videos. Share the videos, okay? Alright, guys. This video is 28 minutes long. Longest video in a while. Okay, bye, guys.